Today, let's address statements that survivors of narcissistic abuse hear far too often from people they turn to for support. Not everyone you don't like or have arguments with is a narcissist. Oh, that's just everyday conflict. Or worse, it's become such a fad to use that term. Let's break this down. No one is saying that every difficult person is a narcissist. Disagreement happens in every relationship. But narcissistic abuse isn't about disagreement. It's about a pattern of manipulative, exploitative, and psychologically harmful behavior that often leaves long-term trauma in its victims, leading them to doubt their own reality. As clinical psychologist Dr. Ramani Durvasula says, many narcissists don't meet the full diagnostic criteria for narcissistic personality disorder, or NPD, but that doesn't make their behavior harmless. Someone can be deeply narcissistic and destructive without a formal diagnosis. However, just because a layperson can't and shouldn't diagnose a current or former partner with NPD doesn't mean they don't understand what happened to them. Think of it like this. Not every person who drinks problematically is an alcoholic, but their drinking can still devastate families. Narcissistic behavior is similar. The impact matters more than the label. Now let's talk about breakups. A narcissistic breakup is not like a regular breakup. It's not just falling out of love, conflict, or incompatibility. It's a psychological war zone. Here's what survivors often report. Chronic gaslighting, being told their reality is wrong. Strategic love bombing followed by devaluation. Cycles of manipulation, lies, blame shifting, and emotional cruelty. Often, when called out on their abuse by a partner who has finally had enough of the manipulation, the cycle includes narcissistic rage, followed by an abrupt discard of the victim and the silent treatment. Some abusers even flip the script and call their victim narcissistic for asking for their needs to be met, or for expressing upset at the abuse. Or worse, they convince family and friends who have never seen their dark side to isolate and even attack the victim of their narcissistic abuse. And often, there is a disturbing pattern. The person tends to have no contact with any of their former partners, sometimes with one or two stragglers who, for whatever reason, were spared their narcissistic manipulation and rage. That's not a coincidence. It's a pattern of emotional destruction. You can't diagnose someone you dated or lived with, and honestly, you shouldn't try. But you can absolutely name what you experienced. If someone punches you, you don't need a doctor's note to know it was abuse. And when someone chronically manipulates, invalidates, or emotionally breaks you down, that's emotional abuse. You know it because you lived it. So to those saying, you just had a bad breakup, please pause and listen more deeply. Survivors of narcissistic abuse aren't throwing around labels. They're trying to name something that almost destroyed them. Believing survivors doesn't require a diagnosis. It requires compassion and a willingness to see what's really there. And most of all, it calls for an understanding that some people really do fit a pattern of exploiting their partners, taking more than they give, manipulation, lying, reality distortion, gaslighting, rage, and blame reversal. And their victims deserve to be believed. Narcissistic abuse is real. Narcissistic discard is different from a normal breakup. You are not overreacting. Thanks for watching. If you found this validating and informative, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And please like and subscribe.